The alone thing might need some work. She had been repeating that thought for months. She wanted to spark something, wanted somebody in closer, regular orbit. It didn't have to be anything on the road to Permanentville, just something meaningful. Her straight, shoulder-length brown hair bounced loosely when it was not too smoked up by campfires. Her body had grown tougher with the years in the outdoors, but plenty of guys still circled around, so her feminine vibe hadn't completely gone underground. She liked being the hunting chick in the guys' world, and did what she could to make sure her reddish-brown eyes, high cheekbones, and Midwestern smile didn't lose their appeal. It was time to stop holding guys off and let one buzz closer. The fire crackled and popped, and she took off her hat, stretching her neck around in a post-horseback yoga twist. She took a sip of tequila mix and wondered if the contentment scale needed another notch. The tequila went down tart and tasty. She finished her first and poured a second, starting to feel the aches of the day melt away. 2 drinks would be plenty, and she reminded herself to chug a few cups of water. You could never drink enough at this altitude. A twig snapped in the meadow. Not a twig, a stick. A stick with heft. She estimated the sound was 30 yards off to her left, no more. Prickles flared across her shoulders. She stood up cautiously and stepped away from the flickering firelight, blocking it with her hand. She peered into the blackness, hoping her eyes would quickly readjust, and blamed the rare jolt of fear on city residue. The idea of joining the men in camp held appeal. Allison backpedaled until she was clear of the light. She circled out into the darkness and stared in the direction of the sound. A branch lying on the ground would not break of its own free will in the wide open meadow. Something or somebody had put some weight on it. Would a bear be that careless? She crouched and waited, trying to discern movement in the black. Would she prefer to be right, to verify that her outdoor skills were keen, or would she prefer to be wrong, so she didn't have to confront an animal, or worse, a human being? Nothing moved. She reached into the pocket of her jean jacket. Her gloved fingers settled around a comfortable, friendly shape. She couldn't remember putting it there, but it was as welcome as a .45. She could flip the flashlight on, but that would make her a target. She glanced back at her camp, waiting for something to happen, a figure to bounce out of the night, or bear to slouch into the ring of light and give her tent a whiff. She moved cautiously toward the meadow, trying to see a movement or hear a sensation of an interloper. She flipped on the flashlight and pointed it at the ground in front of her. Scrub, grass, and dirt. She aimed the beam horizontal, belt high, and considered holding it away from her side as a ruse, in case somebody out there was looking for a target. Unnecessary. No shot rang out. No lion leapt. Had she imagined the snap? The adrenaline taking a joyride in her bloodstream told her otherwise. She glanced back to check the fire and Sonny Boy, to make sure nobody was slipping in behind her. She stepped further into the meadow, stopped. She swept the light in an arc and anticipated the snap of a branch or the sight of a telltale print that might confirm her sanity and her heightening panic. 10 more steps, she told herself, and if there's nothing, I'll call myself crazy. The swath of light across the meadow was so narrow and the beam so weak that the search was more a matter of self-satisfaction than self-protection. Then she saw it. The shape on the ground was so out of place that she had to suppress a laugh. A baseball cap. It was as though somebody had walked to this spot, removed his cap, and placed it ever so gently on the ground. She picked up the cap in her gloved hands. It was well worn, but hadn't been sitting in the meadow for long. There wasn't one piece of extraneous dirt, only a jagged stain where salt from the owner's sweat had leached from skin to fabric. Her hands shook as she held it, knowing somebody was right there. The cap was practically warm to the touch.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.